Kamala Harris, how the black community and white women let her down. But before we get started with this demonstration, let me read my copyright disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. What that means is that everything that you hear in this demonstration is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Everything that you hear in this video that I call a demonstration is only the opinions of mine and others. Everything that you hear in this demonstration is only allegedly. Salute to the chat. Salute to the replay gang. Salute to all of my moderators. Salute to you, him, and her. Salute to the whole rock squad. Salute my boo. Salute. Now, this is a demonstration that I'm going to backtrack. All right. I thought that we was past the Kamala Harris. I thought we was past the election. I thought it was time for us to move on. However, I'm still getting comments from the replay gang. Excuse me, y'all. I'm still getting comments from the replay gang how they're disappointed. Salute 80s, baby. How they're so disappointed in me. How they're so disappointed in white women. How they're disappointed in the black community, black men. They're even disappointed in black women because Kamala Harris lost. Let's backtrack. Maybe it's something that I missed. Please share with me. What did I miss? What did I miss, y'all? Did I miss something? Because see, when it comes to voting for a black man or a black woman, just because they're black, all right? Salute, Brother Nazir. Salute. Salute, Jack Me Off. Salute, y'all. Salute. Now, take for granted with Obama. Obama, he sold it. You can't make no mistake about that. There had never been a black man. There has never been a black president, period. Obama comes along, very, very sharp, very intelligent, and, you know, his choice of words, and y'all know what I mean. So for Obama, he sold it. So the people, a lot of white people voted for Obama just because he was black. And they wanted to give the black man a chance. And Obama, he sold it. His first election, the first term when he ran, he was flawless. Like, you couldn't pinpoint no BS with Obama. The first 4 years, the first time he ran, he sold it. Kamala, she just didn't sell it. She didn't sell it. And I covered this, and I've done several demonstrations on this, why she lost, how she lost, who let her down. It was the Democrat Party that let Kamala down. Not us, not black people, not white women. Why was white women supposed to vote for her? Why was white? Can somebody please explain that to me? Why was white women supposed to vote for Kamala? Why? Y'all not holding white men accountable. Y'all not saying White men let Kamala down. Why do black men always catch the charge? Salute, Marty. Maybe somebody can help me understand. And that's why I'm backtracking this. And please, y'all, please share with me y'all thoughts on this, because maybe it's something that I missed. So that's why I said, let me chop it up and let me do this demonstration, because maybe it's something that I missed. And maybe you all can enlighten me. What did I miss? Why was we supposed to vote for Kamala? Salute, Nikki. Nikki says you're supposed to vote based on your beliefs. Thank you, Nikki. And that's pretty much where I'm at. Like I said, and I'll say it again, I do believe I believe Kamala would make a good president. Okay? My reasons for not voting for Kamala, I had different reasons why I didn't vote. And I didn't even vote for Trump. And if y'all been following me, what did I say? I said, if Trump doesn't address that situation when the white Trump supporters attack the one black Trump supporter, I said, if Trump doesn't address that, I said, Trump won't get my vote. Salute, Zena. Salute, Zena. So I want to wait before I go any further. I felt like, and I still feel like, Kamala won the presidential debate, but even after that, I was looking for certain things. I think Trump has a big mouth. I never denied that. There are things that I disagree with Trump. All right? Let me go to, so I can get warmed up a little bit. Let me get warmed up a little bit. Let's go to the presidential debate. And like I said, salute Marie, salute Marie, salute Marie. Maybe it's something that I missed. And so I'm willing to listen, y'all.
On this stage who has a plan that is about lifting up the middle class and working people of America. I believe in the ambition, the aspirations, the dreams of the American people. And that is why I imagine and have actually a plan to build what I call an opportunity economy. Because here's the thing, we know that we have a shortage of homes and housing, and the cost of housing is too expensive for far too many people. We know that young families need support to raise their children, and I intend on extending a tax cut for those families of $6,000, which is the largest child tax credit that we have given in a long time, so that those young families can afford to buy a crib, buy a car seat, buy clothes for their children. My passion, one of them, is small businesses. My mother raised my sister and me, but there was a woman who helped raise us. We call her our second mother. She was a small business owner. I love our small businesses. My plan is to give a $50,000 tax deduction to start up small businesses, knowing they are part of the backbone of America's economy. My opponent, on the other hand, his plan is to do what he has done before, which is to provide a tax cut for billionaires and big corporations, which will result in $5 trillion to America's deficit. My opponent has a plan that I call the Trump's sales tax, which would be a 20% tax on everyday goods that you rely on to get through the month. Economists have said that Trump sales tax would actually result for middle-class families in about $4,000 more a year because of his policies and his ideas about what should be the backs of middle-class people paying for tax cuts for billionaires.
President Trump, I'll give you 2 minutes.
All right, before I go to Trump, how many of y'all agree with Kamala? I think what she said was a good point. Salute Suntan, salute Coltan, salute y'all, salute to the chat. How many of y'all went with Kamala on this? Drop a one if you went with Kamala on this.
First of all, I have no sales tax. That's an incorrect statement. She knows that. We're doing tariffs on other countries. Other countries are going to finally, after 75 years, pay us back for all that we've done for the world. And the tariff will be substantial in some cases. I took in billions and billions of dollars, as you know, from China. In fact, they never took the tariff off because it was so much money they can't. It would totally destroy everything that they've set out to do. They're taking in billions of dollars from China and other places. They've left the tariffs on. When I had it, I had tariffs, and yet I had no inflation. Look, we've had a terrible economy because inflation has, which is really known as a country buster. It breaks up countries. We have inflation like very few people have ever seen before, probably the worst in our nation's history. We were at 21%, but that's being generous because many things are 50, 60, 70, and 80% higher than they were just a few years ago. This has been a disaster for people, for the middle class, but for every class. On top of that, we have millions of people pouring into our country from prisons and jails, from mental institutions and insane asylums, and they're coming in and they're taking jobs that are occupied right now by African Americans and Hispanics.
How many of y'all agree with Trump? How many of y'all agree with what Trump just said? The illegal immigrants were going to be coming to take black jobs. How many of y'all agree? I agree with him. I agree with both of them. Let them finish. Drop a one if y'all agree with Trump.
And also unions. Unions are going to be affected very soon. And you see what's happening. You see what's happening with towns throughout the United States. You look at Springfield, Ohio. You look at Aurora in Colorado. They are taking over the towns. They're taking over buildings. They're going in violently. These are the people that Xi and Biden led into our country, and they're destroying our country. They're dangerous.
Drop a three if you feel like what Trump said as far as the Biden administration with Kamala allowed these illegal immigrants to come in and take over apartment buildings like the one we saw in Aurora, Colorado. Drop a three if y'all think or y'all believe what Trump is saying is true, that the Biden administration allowed them to come in.
They're at the highest level of criminality, and we have to get them out. We have to get them out fast. I created one of the greatest economies in the history of our country. I'll do it again and even better.
We are going to get to immigration and border security during this debate, but I would like.
Drop a four. Drop a four if Trump has the best economy. But let me come to y'all now. Let me come to y'all. And I want y'all to, share with me. When it comes to black men, let's start with the black men first. Was black men obligated to vote for Kamala Harris? And if y'all could share with me why y'all feel we was obligated. Share with me why y'all feel we wasn't obligated. Was we obligated to vote for Kamala Harris? Salute, Sharon. Salute, Sharon. Appreciate you for pulling up. Was we obligated to vote for Kamala Harris just because we're black? Was it a black thing? Let me ask y'all that. Was it a black thing? Because, see, at once upon a time, it was a black thing. It was. We're not there no more. We're not there no more. It's no longer a black thing. It's a human family thing. And the only way that black people, as well as all Americans, the only way that we are going to survive, the only way that we're going to prosper is it cannot just be a black thing. Although there are certain issues and agendas that has to be addressed for us. Time on my side says, why would we be obligated to vote for anyone? Personally, I'm only obligated to vote for my needs, in this case, economics, which I didn't see her have a real plan for. That's where I'm at, time on my side, you know, and I backtrack. I studied it. Like I said, I get it, but at the end of the day, it comes down to the policies. Nikki says it shouldn't be that you vote because of color, but you shouldn't vote against because of gender. And I agree. I agree. And it would be wrong if I didn't vote for her just because she's a woman. Or it wouldn't be right for any of us men, black, white, Mexican, for any of us to say, you know what? I'm not going to vote for her because she's a woman. So I agree with you, Nikki. And a lot of people didn't vote for her just because of that. It was plenty of people because they just wasn't ready for a woman president. They wasn't. Maybe it was the woman that, you know, was running, maybe. But I do know a lot of people, men and women of all different nationalities, didn't vote for her just because she's a woman. Like I said, I would have loved to see her as the president. I think that she would have done a good job. CW says race or gender didn't enter my equation. Time on my side says I would love a female president, but she would have to prove to me she was compo- competent, the same as a male, but I can only speak for me. I'm sure people didn't vote for her or him because of gender. I feel you. I feel you. I feel you. How do y'all feel about the immigration situation when it comes to Trump? Is that something that we all can agree on when it comes to the immigration policies? When it comes to being firm and stricken on the borders, are we all on the same page? Because I do feel as though, you know, the borders they have to get control of them borders. They have to.
They can let Vice President Harris respond on the economy.
Well, I would love to. Let's talk about what Donald Trump left us. Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment since the Great Depression. Donald Trump left us the worst public health epidemic in a century. Donald Trump left us the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War. And what we have done is clean up Donald Trump's mess. What we have done and what I intend to do is build on what we know are the aspirations and the hopes of the American people. But I'm going to tell you all in this debate tonight, you're going to hear from the same old tired playbook.
And I don't mean to stop her, but I want us to focus on what CWL says. CWL says, I'm native. So unless you look like me, you're an immigrant. How many of y'all agree with CW? Drop a 5. Drop a 5 down there if y'all agree with CW. Drop a 6 if you disagree. CW says, I'm native. So unless you look like me, you're an immigrant. Time on my side says, oh, I have personal knowledge. I'm firstborn American, and I grew up in Del Rio, Texas, a border town. Yesterday, we needed a tight border and have since the 80s when I lived there. Time on my side says, I like this open discussion. I appreciate you, time on my side. How do y'all feel? Do y'all agree with CWL? Drop a 5. CWL says, I'm native. So unless you look like me, you're an immigrant. Drop a 6 if you disagree.
A bunch of lies, grievances, and name calling. What you're going to hear tonight is a detailed and dangerous plan called Project 2025 that the former president intends on implementing if he were elected again. I believe very strongly that the American people want a president who understands the importance of bringing us together, knowing we have so much more in common than what separates us. And I pledge to you to be a president for all Americans.
President Trump will give you a minute to respond.
Number one, I have nothing to do, as you know, and as she knows better than anyone, I have nothing to do with Project 2025. That's out there. I haven't read it. I don't want to read it purposely. I'm not going to read it. This was a group of people that got together. They came up with some ideas. I guess some good, some bad, but it makes no difference. I have nothing to do. Everybody knows I'm an open book. Everybody knows what I'm going to do. Cut taxes very substantially and create a great economy like I did before. We had the greatest economy. We got hit with a pandemic. And the pandemic was not since 1917, where 100 million people died, has there been anything like it. We did a phenomenal job with the pandemic. We handed them over a country where the economy and where the stock market was higher than it was before the pandemic came in. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. We made ventilators for the entire world. We got gowns, we got masks, we did things that nobody thought possible. And people give me credit for rebuilding the military. They give me credit for a lot of things, but not enough credit for the great job we did with the pandemic. But the only jobs they got were bounce back jobs. These were jobs bounced back, and it bounced back and it went to their benefit. But I was the one that created them. They know it, and so does everybody else.
Vice President.
How do y'all feel before we go to Kamala? Salute the Full Life. The Full Life says that, man, shaking my head. How do y'all feel about Project 2025? Trump claims he don't had anything to do with it. How do y'all feel? Time on my side says, well, for the native comment, all I can say is recent knowledge shows white Soviets were here long before the Asian moved over, becoming natives, not to upset anyone, but conquered when all countries same. How do y'all feel? Do y'all agree with time on my side? What's y'all thoughts?
President Harris, I'll let you respond.
So, Donald Trump has no plan for you. And when you look at his economic plan, it's all about tax breaks for the richest people. I am offering what I describe as an opportunity economy, and the best economists in our country, if not the world, have reviewed our relative plans for the future of America. What Goldman Sachs has said is that Donald Trump's plan would make the economy worse, mine would strengthen the economy. What the Wharton School has said is Donald Trump's plan would actually explode the deficit. 16 Nobel laureates have described his economic plan as something that would increase inflation and by the middle of next year would invite a recession. You just have to look at where we are and where we stand on the issues. And I'd invite you to know that Donald Trump actually has no plan for you because he is more interested in defending himself than he is in looking out for you.
What are y'all thoughts? What are y'all thoughts? Like I said, when it came to the debate, I felt like Kamala won. I felt like she was very professional, and she made things, to me, very interesting. What are y'all thoughts?
I went to the Wharton School of Finance, and many of those professors, the top professors, think my plan is a brilliant plan. It's a great plan. It's a plan that's going to bring up our worth, our value as a country. It's going to make people want to be able to go and work and create jobs and create a lot of good, solid money for our country. And just to finish off, she doesn't have a plan. She copied Biden's plan, and it's like 4 sentences, like run, spot, run. 4 sentences that are just, oh, we'll try and lower taxes. She doesn't have a plan. Take a look at her plan. She doesn't have a plan.
Mr. President, I do want to drill down on something you both brought up. The Vice President brought up your tariffs, you responded, and let's drill down on this, because your plan is what she calls is essentially a national sales tax. Your proposal calls for tariffs, as you pointed out here, on foreign imports across the board. You recently said that you might double your plan, imposing tariffs up to 20% on goods coming into this country. As you know, many economists say that with tariffs at that level, costs are then passed on to the consumer. Vice President Harris has argued it'll mean higher prices on gas, food, clothing, medication, arguing it costs the typical family nearly $4,000 a year. Do you believe Americans can afford higher prices because of tariffs?
They're not going to.
Before I go to them, appreciate that cash donation, 80s, baby. Appreciate that cash donation, 80s, baby. CWL says, my point is that within a few generations, most American grandparents were born somewhere besides America, except for mine. They were all born here. Salute Nugs. Nugs says, Let's go, Trump. Salute. Diggity D says, thank God Trump is back. And now he has the House, Senate, Supreme Court, and popular vote mandate. Sit back and enjoy the economy. Tom on my side says, make sure I sub. I appreciate you, Tom on my side. Marie says, he is liar Rust.
Have higher prices. What's going to have and who's going to have higher prices is China and all of the countries that have been ripping us off for years. I was the only president ever. China was paying us hundreds of billions of dollars, and so were other countries. And you know, if she doesn't like them, they should have gone out and they should have immediately cut the tariffs. But those tariffs are there 3.5 years now under their administration. We are going to take in billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars. I had no inflation, virtually no inflation. They had the highest inflation perhaps in the history of our country, because I've never seen a worse period of time. People can't go out and buy cereal or bacon or eggs or anything else. The people of our country are absolutely dying with what they've done. They've destroyed the economy. And all you have to do is look at a poll. The polls say 80 and 85 and even 90% that the Trump economy was great, that their economy was terrible.
Vice President.
What's your thoughts? Duckling says, just because she won the debate doesn't mean she did a good job running the country. I agree with you, Duckling. I agree with you, Duckling.
Harris, I do want to ask for your response, and you heard what the president said there, because the Biden administration did keep a number of the Trump tariffs in place. So how do you respond?
Well, let's be clear that the Trump administration resulted in a trade deficit, one of the highest we've ever seen in the history of America. He invited trade wars. You want to talk about his deal with China? What he ended up doing is, under Donald Trump's presidency, he ended up selling American chips to China to help them improve and modernize their military, basically sold us out, when a policy about China should be in making sure the United States of America wins the competition for the 21st century, which means focusing on the details of what that requires, focusing on relationships with our allies, focusing on investing in American-based technology so that we win the race on AI, on quantum computing, focusing on what we need to do to support America's workforce so that we don't end up having on the short end of the stick in terms of workers' rights. But what Donald Trump did, let's talk about this, with COVID, is he actually thanked President Xi for what he did during COVID. Look at his tweet. Thank you, President Xi, exclamation point, when we know that Xi was responsible for lacking and not giving us transparency about the origins of COVID.
President Trump, I'll let you respond.
First of all, they bought their chips from Taiwan. We hardly make chips anymore because of philosophies like they have and policies like they have. I don't say her because she has no policy. Everything that she believed 3 years ago and 4 years ago is out the window. She's going to my philosophy now. In fact, I was going to send her a MAGA hat. She's gone to my philosophy.
I had to laugh. He said he was going to send a MAGA hat.
But if she ever got elected, she'd change it. And it will be the end of our country. She's a Marxist. Everybody knows she's a Marxist. Her father's a Marxist professor in economics, and he taught her well. But when you look at what she's done to our country, and when you look at these millions and millions of people that are pouring into our country monthly, where it's, I believe, 21 million people, not the 15 that people say, and I think it's a lot higher than the 21. That's bigger than New York State pouring in. And just look at what they're doing to our country. They're criminals. Many of these people coming in are criminals. And that's bad for our economy, too. You know, you mentioned before, we'll talk about immigration later. Well, bad immigration is the worst thing that can happen to our economy. They have, and she has, destroyed our country with policy that's insane. Almost policy that you'd say they have to hate our country.
President Trump, thank you. Lindsay?
I want to turn to the issue of abortion. President Trump, you've often touted that you were able to kill Roe v. Wade. Last year, you said that you were proud to be the most pro-life president in American history. Then last month, you said that your administration would be great for women and their reproductive rights. in your home state of Florida, you surprised many with regard to your 6-week abortion ban, because you initially had said that it was too short. And you said, quote, I'm going to be voting that we need more than 6 weeks. But then the very next day, you reversed course and said you would vote to support the 6-week ban. Vice President Harris says that women shouldn't trust you on the issue of abortion because you've changed your position so many times.
Before I continue, how many feel that way? Do y'all feel that women should not trust Trump when it comes to abortions? How do y'all feel about that? Do y'all agree with Kamala that women shouldn't trust Trump when it comes to abortion rights?
Or why should they trust you?
Well, the reason I'm doing that vote is because the plan is, as you know, the vote is, they have abortion in the 9th month. They even have, and you can look at the governor of West Virginia, the previous governor of West Virginia, not the current governor, is doing an excellent job, but the governor before, he said the baby will be born and we will decide what to do with the baby. In other words, we'll execute the baby. And that's why I did that, because that predominates, because they're radical. The Democrats are radical in that. And her vice presidential pick, which I think was a horrible pick, by the way, for our country, because he is really out of it. But her vice presidential pick says abortion in the 9th month is absolutely fine. He also says execution after birth. It's an execution, no longer abortion, because the baby is born, is exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother. I believe strongly in it. Ronald Reagan did also. 85% of Republicans do. Exceptions. Very important. But we were able to get it, and now states are voting on it. And for the first time, you're going to see, look, this is an issue that's torn our country apart for 52 years. Every legal scholar, every Democrat, every Republican, liberal, conservative, they all wanted this issue to be brought back to the states where the people could vote. And that's what happened. Now, Ohio, the vote was somewhat liberal. Kansas, the vote was somewhat liberal, much more liberal than people would have thought. But each individual state is voting. It's the vote of the people now. It's not tied up in the federal government. I did a great service in doing it. It took courage to do it. And the Supreme Court had great courage in doing it. And I give tremendous credit to those 6 justices.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born. Madam Vice President, I want to get your response to President Trump.
Well, as I said, you're going to hear a bunch of lies, and that's not actually a surprising fact. Let's understand how we got here. Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade. And they did exactly as he intended. And now in over 20 states, there are Trump abortion bans, which make it criminal for a doctor or nurse to provide health care. In one state, it provides prison for life. Trump abortion bans that make no exception even for rape and incest, which understand what that means. A survivor of a crime of violation to their body does not have the right to make a decision about what happens to their body next. That is immoral. And one does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs to agree. The government, and Donald Trump certainly, should not be telling a woman what to do with her body. I have talked with women around our country. You want to talk about this is what people wanted? Pregnant women who want to carry a pregnancy to term, suffering from a miscarriage, being denied care in an emergency room because their healthcare providers are afraid they might go to jail, and she's bleeding out in a car in the parking lot. She didn't want that. Her husband didn't want that. A 12 or 13-year-old survivor of incest being forced to carry a pregnancy to term. They don't want that. And I pledge to you, when Congress passes a bill to put back in place the protections of Roe v. Wade, as President of the United States, I will proudly sign it into law. But understand, if Donald Trump were to be reelected, he will sign a national abortion ban. Understand, in his Project 2025, there would be a national abortion, a monitor that would be monitoring your pregnancies, your miscarriages. I think the American people believe that certain freedoms, in particular the freedom to make decisions about one's own body, should not be made by the government.
Thank you, Vice President Harris.
Well, there she goes again. It's a lie. I'm not signing a ban, and there's no reason to sign a ban because we've gotten what everybody wanted. Democrats, Republicans, and everybody else, and every legal scholar wanted it to be brought back into the states, and the states are voting. And it may take a little time, but for 52 years, this issue has torn our country apart. And they've wanted it back in the states. And I did something that nobody thought was possible. The states are now voting. What she says is an absolute lie. And as far as the abortion ban, no, I'm not in favor of abortion ban, but it doesn't matter because this issue has now been taken over by the states.
Would you veto a national abortion ban if it came
Well, I
to your
won't
desk?
have to because again, two things. Number one, she said she'll go back to Congress. She'll never get the vote. It's impossible for her to get the vote, especially now with the 50-50 and essentially 50-50 in both Senate and the House. She's not going to get the vote. She can't get the vote. She won't even come close to it. So it's just talk. You know what it reminds me of when they said they're going to get student loans terminated, and it ended up being a total catastrophe. The student loans, and then her, I think probably her boss, if you call him a boss, he spends all his time on the beach. Look, her boss went out and said, we'll do it again. We'll do it a different way. He went out, got rejected again by the Supreme Court. So all these students got taunted with this whole thing about this whole idea. And how unfair that would have been, part of the reason they lost, to the millions and millions of people that had to pay off their student loans. They didn't get it for free. But they were saying it's the same way that they talked about that they talk about abortion.
But if I could just get a yes or no, because your running mate, J.D. Vance, has said that you would veto it if it did come to your desk.
Well, I did.
Let me just stop right there for a second, y'all. And I'm not going to hold y'all that much longer. Let me just stop right there. And y'all help me out now, the chat and the replay game. Do you think that this is why the people that are referring to white women voting for Trump and not Kamala, is this legitimate reason or a legitimate excuse for people to go after white women for not voting for Kamala? Do you think it was all surrounded around the abortion rights? Diggity D says he answered that question 3 times before. What are y'all thoughts? Because I was trying to figure out why was people going after white women for not voting for Kamala? You know? Do y'all think it got anything to do with the abortion rights? And I won't hold y'all that much longer. Y'all let me know. And I'm waiting for my replay game. I don't want to call out your name, but you know who you are on the replay game. I've really made this demonstration for you because I wanted you to pour up so we can chop it up. I mean, where you at? Where you at? You always got a lot to say on the replay. So I said, let me make this demonstration specifically for you. So you'll have a chance to pull up. Talk to me. Come on and pull up. You got a lot to say on the replay. you be wearing me out on the replay. All right, y'all. Just a little bit more, then I'm going to let y'all get out of here.
Discuss it with JD. In all fairness, JD, and I don't mind if he has a certain view, but I think he was speaking for me, but I really didn't. Look, we don't have to discuss it because she'd never be able to get it, just like she couldn't get student loans. They couldn't get student loans. They didn't even come close to getting student loans. They taunted young people and a lot of other people that had loans. They can never get this approved. So it doesn't matter what she says about going to Congress. Well, wonderful. Let's go to Congress. Do it. But the fact is that for years they wanted to get it out of Congress and out of the federal government. And we did something that everybody said couldn't be done. And now you have a vote of the people on abortion.
Vice President Harris, I want to give you your time to respond, but I do want to ask, would you support any restrictions on a woman's right to an abortion?
I absolutely support reinstating the protections of Roe v. Wade. And as you rightly mentioned, nowhere in America is a woman carrying a pregnancy to term and asking for an abortion. That is not happening. It's insulting to the women of America. And understand what has been happening under Donald Trump's abortion bans. Couples who pray and dream of having a family are being denied IVF treatments. What is happening in our country? Working people, working women who are working 1 or 2 jobs, who can barely afford childcare as it is, have to travel to another state to get on a plane sitting next to strangers to go and get the health care she needs. Barely can afford to do it, and what you are putting her through, unconscionable. And the people of America have not, the majority of Americans believe in a woman's right to make decisions about her own body, and that is why in every state where this issue has been on the ballot, in red and blue states both, the people of America have voted for freedom.
Vice President.
All right, y'all. I'm going to just say this briefly, and then I'm going to let you all get out of here. My opinion, I believe that the Democrat Party is the reason why Kamala lost. I think that 102 days or 104 days to prepare and campaign for a presidential election, she just didn't have enough time. And I said this in Kamala's defense. She just didn't have enough time. The Democrat Party, in my opinion, should have been set Biden down. Salute, Mel. I see you, Mel. They should have been set Biden down because they had ample amount of time. They had plenty of time to see the condition that Biden was in. Maybe if Kamala had more time, maybe the Democrats, maybe it would have been a different outcome. When it came to the celebrities that performed at her campaign and things of that nature, in my opinion, they skipped over some great women. That there were all kind of women, and they could have made it a diversity, meaning they could have had women of all nationalities to perform at her campaign. But the women that they did have to campaign to come and perform, I mean, they wasn't the best representations of women. And I got to call a spade a spade. So for the white women that didn't vote for her, for the many black women that didn't vote for her, they all got skipped over. You got a Meg Thee Stallion, you got a Cardi B representing you. So there were other issues that I felt they could have done better. But that's neither here nor there. I don't feel as though the black community, particularly black men, I don't feel like we let Kamala down. I don't feel like white women let her down. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I just wanted to do this demonstration for my replay gang member to chop it up with me, to help me better understand. I'll take a few comments and then I'm going to let y'all get out of here. Tom on my side says, you got Beyonce and Jennifer both implicated in Diddy issue was poor choice. It just was a poor choice. You know, it was a poor choice. And this is what I said. The people see what Trump had already had his solid base. Mel says, still listening to the crickets. Would you care to share, Mel? Would you care to share? But you know, this demonstration wasn't for you, Mel. It was for somebody else on the replay gang that's always calling me out. Shank, I had so much respect for you and to know that you voting for him. And so I said, let me do a demonstration for her. You know, Mel says, still listening to the crickets. Care to share, Mel? Would you like to share? Would you like to share? Walter says, respect to you for the open conversation. I appreciate you, Walter. I appreciate you, Walter. Any and everybody can voice their opinion. If you disagree with me, that's fine. If you agree with me, that's fine. But this is an open platform for everybody to be able to voice their opinions. Time on my side says, I'll try getting more often and be your devil's advocate. I'd rather have good conversation and learn than the usual arguing. I agree with you, Tom, on my side. I agree with you. Mel says, I'm not sure what you are speaking about. Mel says, you should always question the silence. True, true, true. Now, somebody on the replay gang was telling me how disappointed in me they are because I didn't vote for their sorority. I ain't even gonna try to pronounce that. But y'all know what I'm trying to say. I didn't vote for their sister, and I chose to vote for Trump, you know. And so I was like, well, let me do a demonstration, and that particular replay gang member can talk to me. Diggity D says, we just need to have better conversations like this. I appreciate this. I'm conservative and I voted for Trump, but I respect you. I appreciate you. Salute, Miss Groovy. Salute, Miss Groovy. Salute, Miss M from South Africa. Appreciate you for pulling up, Miss M. So, I'm not against Trump. I'm not for Trump. I'm not against Kamala. I'm not for Kamala. I'm not a Democrat nor Republican. I didn't vote. I've never voted. So I'm just neutral and I just see both sides. I see both sides. Like for Trump, I'm hoping that these 4 years that he keep his big ass mouth shut. Also, I'm hoping that he be careful what he says out his mouth. You know, if he, and most and foremost, the tweeting, be careful what you tweet. Other than that, do your job, Trump. Do your job. Ms. Groovy says that won't happen. Tom on my side says I'm a conservative in California, so you know I'm surrounded. Diggity D says I feel like Kamala is too radical. I like her being radical. I do. I like her being radical. Diggity D says these 4 years will be better than the other 4 years he was in. He won't be dealing with impeachment BS. Walter says we got 6 presidents: Tutsi, Vivek, Trump, Vance, Kennedy, and Musk. Salute YJ. YJ says peace to the people. Salute. Diggity D says she's very anti-gun. I think maybe her being radical, maybe it scared some people. Mel says, right, Shank, because in that debate, he already said he controls the House, Senate, and Congress. Good point, Mel. I'm with you, Mel. Fishing Boston says she tried to allow men and women's sports, and that's what I didn't agree with. I didn't agree with that, you know. But like I said, my disagreements with Trump was his big ass mouth. Like, shut up. You know, the tweets, you know, and then the choice of words. Now he cut me laughing. Tom on my side says, all I hope is all of us have more money in our bank accounts by the end of this. Tracy says, I'm hoping he will behave in a presidential manner and not be a bully. Let's get our country back on the right track. And that's where I'm at. Prince of Wales says, I'm ashamed of Black Americans supporting hers in such great numbers. Well, let me see. Let me see. Prince of Wales says, I'm ashamed of Black Americans supporting hers in such great numbers. I disagree. I disagree. I disagree. I disagree. Diggity D says, I feel like both sides have very loud radicals, but most of the people are left to center and right to center. Salute Londa. Salute Londa. I feel like with Black Americans that did vote for Kamala, I feel like they wanted to see the sister get in there. I feel like that. RLF says, I'm just afraid of losing my Social Security. That's a good point. And I think Trump is fishing. Boston says, what you think about abortion up to 9 months? Diggity D says, she went after, I believe, 1,700 Black men for marijuana possession charges, then bragged about smoking it in college and on talk shows. Appreciate that super chat, Hurricane. Hurricane says, I still don't know what her plans are. All I seen was her say Trump bad, and I'm not Joe. I don't like how she just got put in like that. And that's a good point. That's a good point. And that's why I still say that, for me, the Democrats failed her. The Democrat Party failed her. They failed her. Tom on my side says, I should prefix I'm multiracial, so when I hear all the race stuff, I feel left out. I mean, do I bite black, white, Hispanic? So I go deaf after to hear bite for me if you're insert race. And I feel you, and I'm praying and I'm hoping. Let me read this last one. RL said, it would be cool if we got a few stimulus checks like we did the last time. I'm with you. I would love to get some stimulus checks. But as far as the race and the division and everything, I'm praying that we can get past the division. And I'm praying that we can all just be Americans and we all can live the American dream. And I'm praying that we all can just live in peace, love, and harmony, and none of us are discriminated against. I'm praying for that, because I do see, and when I talk to different people of different races, we all are looking for the same thing, and we all are in this together. If this country is attacked from the outside, we're all going to be in this fight together. So I just pray that we all get to that point where we all look at each other as Americans. I'm just praying. Make sure y'all double tap the screen and hit my like button. Salute to everybody, and I'll see y'all back tomorrow. Salute y'all.